What's up, children of the sun? This is your spiritual nomad, Montre Bible. Yes, that's my real last name. And I'm going to be giving my 2 cents on what's come across my news feed because of the algorithm. And of course, it's going to be something about TikTok because I love TikTok so much, as you all know. But, anyways, I mean, it's a love hate relationship, but here's the
Right now, we had a video a couple weeks ago and we had a headline. It basically said mass psychosis on TikTok. And it seems to be omnipresent because there is a new trend called shifting.
Yes. So here's a question for you guys. Have you ever watched a TV show or a movie franchise and thought to yourself, I wish I could live in the Hogwarts universe, or I wish I could live in the Star Wars universe or the MCU? Probably not the MCU because that would make you have to interact with Captain Marvel. But
Ooh.
sometimes Gen Z
Have y'all seen the videos about Captain Marvel actually being a villain? It would probably be better if they just made her a villain.
thinks about these things and they let their imaginations run wild. And that leads us to the shifting trend on TikTok or the perma shifting trend. These Gen Zers on TikTok have convinced each other that they can travel to different dimensions by essentially daydreaming about them intensely.
But again, I've been told for the last several years that atheism is the way to go, and it's what is the big spaghetti monster, the flying spaghetti monster, right? And as an agnostic, I'm insulted that somebody like this would take, as somebody who doesn't take a strong stance on religion, I'm insulted that a generation of people who act morally superior to people who are religious then buy into stuff like this.
Well, the first time that I found out about the shifting trend was when I downloaded TikTok in the middle of lockdown era in 2020. And I saw all of it and thought it was kind of crazy, but it rose to prominence then and in 2021 when all of these
And now this is it sounds, let me just pause it right there. This sounds with this whole shifting thing. This is what makes people not believe spiritual people when we talk about shifting. It's watering down the message because there's just anybody and everybody just starts out. It's the internet. There is a such thing as shifting, but it's not shifting dimensions. I'll go into a little bit more late in a minute.
articles were written about it, but apparently it didn't die down. It's still a thing. And someone posted screenshots from the perma shifting community on TikTok
There's a
that are
community.
essentially TikTok induced schizophrenia. I see one called My Perma Shifting Plan. I will be perma shifting before the end of this year, but I will most likely perma shift in September since I don't see a goal or point of me still being aware of this reality.
This sounds very dangerous. Almost like giving an excuse for self-cancellation.
After I've perma shifted, I will be shifting to all sorts of realities and will have my waiting room as my home reality. The reality I always shift back to after being in my desired realities. They say DRs.
It sounds like a drug-induced something. Like they're taking drugs and they're zoning out or becoming zombies, taking drugs and having delusions.
As desired
What
realities.
the hell is the waiting room?
The waiting room is your home base. So that's the little waiting room in your brain that you go back to instead of facing your real life responsibilities. I have thought of plans to reincarnate after shifting to thousands of desired realities, but I honestly just prefer chilling in my waiting room whenever I get bored of shifting. I'll be shifting to thousands and millions of different types of desired realities,
It's called dreaming. That's what you're doing.
such as challenges, TV shows, etc. And I'll have a desired reality log list in my Lifa app in my waiting room to help track where I've been shifting to. There's another TikTok
It
that's
sounds like dreaming. You're
he
dreaming.
has no idea she perma shifted for him and they grew old together. A lot of Gen Zers who believe in shifting also believe that they can shift to a different reality to find their soulmate. So that's cool. That's normal. And another said shifting is so beautiful.
You know what this is? Neptune and Pisces. Neptune in Pisces is increasing a lot of it Neptune in Pisces is increasing a lot of spiritual energy, but also a lot of delusions as well. There's this balance of, oh wow, people are really tuning into their spirituality. There's this awakening happening. On the dark end, there is drugs, more delusions, more drug usage. I knew when Neptune moved into Pisces, there was going to be legalization of cannabis, marijuana, but also Saturn is in Pisces too, which means that there's going to be some rules and some limitations. And what we're gonna since Saturn's only been in Pisces for a little bit, and then it's gonna shift out, and then shifting. Speaking of, but Saturn is here to kind of bring in rules. What we're seeing here now is that a lot of young people who are not used to this Neptune and Pisces, and fortunately, Neptune leaves Pisces pretty soon. I think in 2026, and then it'll move into Aries either 2026 or 2025. Um, which is going to be a whole nother ball of wax that we have to deal with, which is mostly war, which we're seeing build up already. But Neptune and Pisces is causing a lot of people who want, especially with young people, because they're not used to that energy. No one is, but it's escapism. It's people trying to find means of escape from their own reality, which is Pisces things. Neptune is there. People want to be in the dream world. People want to escape because they can't deal with their own reality. Shifting, you don't shift dimensions, because there's only like one first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, fourth, fifth, and you're not in the fifth dimension or you're in the fourth. There is this talk about shifting to different dimensions, but then you would see reality totally different. Versus we only see from first person out. We don't, you can't, in other words, you can't see your own body unless you take a picture or you look in the mirror. Without getting too deep on that, you don't live in the fourth or fifth dimension. Other spirits do. And what it sounds like when people don't have an awareness of the universe, spirituality outside of religion, and so when they let go of religion, they throw out the baby with the bathwater. They like, oh, nothing at all. So they create their own pseudo spirituality, where they just make up things as they go, not realizing that people before them have been talking about these type of topics for centuries, and we have to learn from the past while we move forward in the future and even live in our present lives. That spirituality is real. This is sounding like blacking out, zoning out, and leaving your avatar. And when you do that, you open yourself up to demonic possession.
It really is. You can explore so many places that God created. Yeah. And a lot of this started because of Harry Potter fans. And a lot of women who really have the hots for Draco Malfoy.
For magic.
And they decided they would just shift out of the real world so that they could live in Hogwarts and be Draco Malfoy's girlfriend. So they kind of took the fandom too far and
level.
decided I'm just gonna dissociate and pretend like I'm Draco Malfoy's girlfriend for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
He's not leaving your whole reality hot.
Yeah, so it's not uncommon to stumble across a video explaining how you can literally be with Draco Malfoy through a process called reality shifting.
And see, this is escapism, but how different is this from cosplaying and other things? I mean, people cosplay. This is just taking it one step further, where people want to fantasize. Or, like when have you ever gone to those Renaissance fairs and people dress up as like, Renaissance characters and they live their lives like that? How different is that from people doing this? People have been doing this forever. It's just now that we have the internet, they're congregating on places like TikTok and I guess role playing as uh, certain things. I've seen as long as I've been on the internet, I've seen people role play as so many different things and literally not break character. They live their lives like that.
Moving your consciousness from one reality to another reality, you can train yourself to shift into an entirely different reality, such as Hogwarts. And there are multiple methods to shift into a different dimension. They have different names. One of them is the Raven method, where you lie down in a starfish position, counting down from 100 while imagining your desired reality. And the other method is the Alice in Wonderland method, where you visualize yourself running after a person from your desired reality, for instance, Draco Malfoy, and jumping down a rabbit hole with them. It sounds similar to lucid dreaming, but most members of the shifting community would argue it's far more intense and realistic than any dream. And I say, let's hear from a member of the shifting community where she dispels some myths and rumors about shifting for us. Let's go straight to the source of this mass psychosis.
All right, let's check it out.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode where I tell you all about reality shifting. Today I want to talk about misconceptions.
Well, she's pretty.
One of the biggest misconceptions about reality shifting is that it's lucid dreaming or daydreaming. That's not the case. Reality shifting is its own thing. Lucid dreaming and daydreaming are exactly that, dreaming. Reality shifting is placing your subconscious in a parallel universe. Totally different topic.
I bet you a lot of people will follow her only because she's pretty. There's a lot of pretty people who are cuckoo.
Myth 2 is reality shifting safe? Yes, it's extremely safe. There might be some side effects like drowsiness after, but there's no actual harm that comes to you. Misconception 3, can my desired reality come from...
Let her finish. No. Let her
cook.
Never trust
Let her cook.
advice given from someone who doesn't know how to regulate the audio levels on their background music. First of all, we're going to get copyrighted for this shit. And she doesn't even, it's louder than she is.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Please. 2D TV show? Yeah, it can. Your desired reality is a parallel universe which you make. So ultimately, it can be anything you want. Misconception 4, you could get stuck there? No, you can't. It's your subconscious, it's not astral projection. You'll come back. And lastly, misconception 5, shifting with other people in it.
It's your imagination.
You could possibly shift with someone else in it, but you won't have the same exact experience. You might have each other in it, but that's about it.
Here's a reality shift for you. For all the Gen Zers out there, you want a reality shift? Read a book.
Be shifting.
Honestly, this is kind of sad. So some people in her comments disagreed with her. They said, you don't make your own parallel realities. They actually already exist. And the world is a simulation. So that means that you can cheat the system and jump between all of these realities that actually do exist.
The world, I believe the world is a simulation too, but it is a collective conscious creation, which means you didn't just create it. Everyone created it together by what we believe to be true, if that makes any sense. Everyone believes something to be true, thus it becomes true. Okay? Whether what you were taught by history, what you were taught in religion, and so those things become true. And they're still trying to sway reality by trying to get the collective to believe that something is true when it's not.
Another one said, I want to shift so bad. I've tried and I can't. Please tell me how I'm stuck in the world. I need to escape. Everything is going wrong in my real life.
In Pisces.
The best part is there's sociopaths who don't do it either because it's not real. And they're like, oh, I can teach you how. Oh, you're missing out just to make this other person.
Do you think they're
bad.
lying about shifting? Or did they have some kind of experience?
I think it's just their imagination.
I just said that.
No? Like they're using their imagination?
How can it go that far though? I don't think I could ever convince myself that I time traveled or dimension traveled into
But when
Hogwarts.
you dream, you believe your dream to be real. And I think they're going to a level of dream psychosis where they're dreaming, they're asleep, or they're on drugs in dreaming. That's what I think is happening. I don't put it past any of them that they're not taking drugs while they're doing this.
Sleep paralysis?
They say that it's very distinct from that and that you're not asleep when you
Now,
do it.
sleep paralysis is real.
So
What do I know?
it's all predicated on the belief that the reality we live in now is actually not
Right.
reality. It's a simulation.
It is
Well,
a
that they
simulation.
hate their reality so much they want to escape it. But really, like,
Neptune and Pisces.
we are in control of our own reality to an
Boom.
extent,
Boom.
right? And if you
Mhm.
don't like your life so much you want to
Change it.
escape it, you can change it.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
responsibility, I think, is something that also people want to escape so badly, but responsibility gives
And they need a job. They need a job. They need to find something to do with their free time. A hobby, something other than TikTok.
you a sense of accomplishment. It feels good. So I think this sounds like a bunch of spoiled brats that
They're like, I don't want to
Don't
go to
wanna
my job at
face-
Starbucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to pay my student loan debt. I don't want to have to fight with my mean Republican parents. I'm going to perma-shift into Hogwarts. That's really
what it
the
sounds
idea
like,
behind
yeah.
it. And it's really kind of sad that no one taught them any better, that they do have control over their lives and the reality
And
that
that's a
they live
spiritual
in, and they feel
concept.
the
You have
need to
control.
escape
Yeah.
into these TV shows and
yeah.
movies. But
This
here we
would
are.
be-
Here
This-
we are, and I totally agree. I don't think it's anything new. I've seen this before. It's just uh once again, Gen Z thinks they're making something new up by giving it a different name. Case in point, non-binary. I mean, there's been androgynous people for as long as I can remember. We just didn't put a label on it. And perma-shifting just sounds like uh, cosplaying with extra steps. Anyways, I'll put the whole video of this in the description. I'm not going to play the whole thing, it's a little bit longer. But I want your opinions on what you think about this new trend, perma shifting, that has come across my news feed. I find it entertaining, but I do sense the danger of how it kind of waters down spiritualism and when we talk about shifting, it's a whole different thing. And I don't want people to get confused about it and start connecting that to whatever what these young people are doing now, which is cute. Anyways, leave me a comment below, and remember to make your reality happen. Because if you don't do it, then who will? If you don't like it, change it.